This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
If you're a fan of multiplayer online battle arena, or MOBA games like Heroes of Newerth, League of Legends, and of course, Defense of the Ancients, PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade fans should turn their eyes to Awesomenauts. Ronimo Games' latest title promises to give the MOBA genre a whole new perspective, but is it one worth seeing? At the start of an Awesomenauts match, you and two other players pick one of 6 characters to fight the enemy team. Upon entering the game, players will notice one major difference between Awesomenauts and a more traditional MOBA game. Awesomenauts is viewed from a 2D side-scrolling perspective. This means that jumping is now an integral part of the gameplay experience. For those unfamiliar with MOBA games, the objective is to defend your main base and its turrets from the relentless onslaught of the enemy team, while at the same time attempting to destroy theirs. Mixing things up and keeping both teams on their toes is a variety of non-player hazards, such as mini-bosses, environmental traps, and booster pads. Interestingly, Awesomenauts doesn't deviate much in the way of MOBA character design. You play as either a support, tank, or DPS character. At the moment, there are only 6 characters to choose from, none of which have particularly inventive or original skill sets. But it's the way these tried and true roles are turned on their head when introduced to a 2D playing field that gives the combat of Awesomenauts its lasting appeal. While MOBA games have traditionally taken place on the PC platform, Awesomenauts is tailor-made for consoles. Each face button is mapped to jumping and 3 abilities, one straightforward melee or slash attack, and 2 specialized abilities like Snare, HP Vamp, Healing, Area of Effect, Knockback, Stealth, and more. As you progress through a match, you'll be awarded solar credits, the game's currency, which you can use to purchase skills and upgrades. Each skill has 6 possible enhancements, however you can only purchase up to 3 of them. They alter your character's damage buffs, additional status effects, increased range and duration of effects. You can also purchase stat boosters for things like health, health regeneration, movement speed, and money gained over time. Most of the upgrades appear intriguing enough, but we found it very hard to appreciate them given the hectic nature of the combat. The game's presentation fools you into believing it's overly simplistic, when in reality there are moderately complex strategies and character builds to explore. At launch, balance is a big issue with the game. It's not that more experienced players have an unfair advantage. They do have an advantage, but it's not insurmountable. Rather, the problem lies with character balance. There are 2 characters in particular that alone can turn the tide of a match, specifically Clunk, a large tank-like character, and Voltar, the healer. We're inclined to let the balance issue slide, however, as most MOBA games have this exact problem in their first weeks of existence. The art style, humor, music, and even the title of Awesomenauts calls to mind old Saturday morning cartoons. This concept is carried on through the entire game, with character one-liners being deliciously tongue-in-cheek. It's all very well done, and we can't wait to see what future characters and maps will look and sound like. Despite the flaws, Awesomenauts is still a great experience. It can be described most easily as a 3-way love child of Mega Man X, Super Smash Bros., and League of Legends. 3 games we absolutely love. Frantically jumping about the map trying to avoid enemy attacks while carefully timing your own is an experience you simply can't get anywhere else in the MOBA genre. Awesomenauts is more than worth your time, proven by the hours of fun it's provided for us. As an extra topping on the cake, the game even supports split-screen co-op for up to 3 players. You can't go wrong with Awesomenauts. It's a great little game that goes a long way in reimagining what a MOBA game can be. The game has its share of problems and inadequacies. It could use some further balancing, more characters to choose from, and a tad more depth. But for console gamers who want to see what all the fuss of MOBA gaming is about, Awesomenauts should appear on your download queue.